afternoon. This is Debbie Broughton from St. Robert, Missouri, and I'm coming today to show you how to make these 4 hydrangea cards. I'm late because time got away from me and I didn't realize that it was 1 o'clock until it was 10 after. So, if you're here, if you could comment, then I'll know I'm good to start. Although my picture is just a little bit crooked, I'm going to fix that because I always have to. Looks fine when I look at it, and then when I see it live, no, it is not fine. Well, we'll try that. I always get it way crooked. Then oh, there. I think that's almost perfect. Now, if we could just get my puppy Herbie. He's very needy because it's very cold here and he can't go out to play. So he thinks every time I sit down, it's playtime, and he brings me his ball and stuff. So we're going to hope that he doesn't start barking like he did yesterday. So if you're here, if you could just say hi, then I will know I'm good to start. I really love this hydrangea set. I know that there are just so many Stampin' Up! Sets that I like, but this one is just really beautiful, I think, with all the hydrangeas and the colors. It makes me miss my hydrangeas from South Carolina. It is 4 degrees here today, but it's sunny. So at least maybe it feels a little warmer out there. I'm not sure. I was only out for a few minutes this morning with Herbie. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start with this card because it is the easiest. So, I found this tip. I don't know why I never thought about this before, but if I lay down my craft mat, when I go to use adhesive and stuff, I'm not going to get it on my grid paper, and it will not stick to this. So, that is what I'm going to try to use today. So, we'll get started. The first step in this one is the card base, which is Gorgeous Grape. All 3 cards today are going to be Gorgeous Grape. I could have went with Highland Heather. I could have went with Balmy Blue. But I just went with Gorgeous Grape for all 3. So we're going to get this folded in half. And if we had our bone folder, we would crease it really good. But in my rush to get, here it is, in my rush to get started, I didn't quite get my tools in the right places. There we go. Okay, now if you happen to see my video yesterday, there's a sheet and the DSP that looks like this. And you're wondering, how could I ever use that to the best, efficiency? So what I did was I cut it this way and then this way, and then I got the sky and the flowers. So that's a way to use up as much of that paper as possible. Oh, I'm all confused. Okay. So here we go with the piece that I had cut. It continued on with this piece. And it's going to go on there like that. And so see, every one will be different because you're going to cut it at different places. So now I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. Not my Stampin' Seal Plus. You only need that for 3D projects. And I'm just going to adhere this down. So I just want to get a little bit in that corner. And we're going to get this. Actually, I should have stamped first because I always stamp before I heat. But if I mess this up, the other side's not going to work. So, well, here's just hoping that I can get the words straight. It's a big risk I'm taking. So I'm going to kind of open the card like this. Nope, because it's not a... If I had clear the photopolymer, I'd have to use my pad, but this one is rubber. I love this stamp set. It has so many great words, and they're so bold and easy to ink up. Get my gorgeous grape out. So far, I don't see any comments from anybody. I know that Anna said she was coming, so maybe she will show up here in a little bit. I'm going to do my best to get this centered, and we'll just go for it. See, it just always stamps beautifully, these big bold words. Now next, I don't know if I would put a ribbon on this one, because I used a ribbon on this one just because it was kind of centered, but there's not really one here that's centered. I guess that you could put a ribbon on both of them. I am terrible at tying bows, so I'm not going to put you through the torture of watching me try to tie one. But I used the gray granite and a glue dot. And then this card is finished. It's very fast. So let's move on to the next card, which is this one. This one is just going to use DSP and one stamp out of the stamp set, You Make Me Smile. So, and then I also I had enough paper left over, so I put some on the bottom just to kind of coordinate it. So what we're going to start with is one piece of designer series paper cut at 5 1/4 by 4, which is going to be our front. And then we're going to use the rectangle stitched framelits or dies, and we're going to use the 3rd from the largest and the 5th from the largest. And we're going to lay them on here. And we're going to get them very even. And then I'm going to use some Post-it notes. I really would prefer to use painter's tape. And I went out in the garage today to try to find some paper tape. Not paper tape, paint tape. But when it's 4 degrees outside, the garage is very cold. So I gave up on that, and I'm just going to use the Post-it notes. So you would just put one on each side, being careful not to move it. And then you're going to send it through the Big Shot. But so that you don't have to wait for me and I don't have to try to line that up on camera, I have already cut them. So now you're going to end up with these 3 pieces. So when I did cut this ahead of time, I cut this at 5 1/2 instead of 5 1/4, so it's not going to have a... Hi, Twyla. I know, my nails just go perfect with this whole set. It was just amazing, because I can't get out to get them done anyway because of the snow. So anyway, I cut this wrong. I cut this at 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 instead of the other way, so it's not going to have this black border around the very, very edge. But, hi Anna, I will, when I put the measurements in my post, I'm going to give you the measurements so it'll be exactly like this. So we're going to skip the part where we put the black border on that. So again, we're going to adhesive this, and you have to be a little careful because it's kind of thin and you don't want to tear it as you're trying to put on your adhesive. Just takes a little bit to get adhesive on every side. And then we're going to adhere to the, now there's only going to be an 1/8 of an inch border. So it's very small. And this frame is just so delicate because of the way it is. I think I might have cut this black frame, this black, just a little bit too wide because I used the measurements from before. Let me just fix that. You can always fix things in stamping, and perhaps that's why I'm always making mistakes, so I can show you how to fix things. I'm just going to stick it here in my cutter, and I'm just going to trim off just a little bit so it's not quite as thick of a border. And of course it's not going to work correctly because I'm on video. So I'll get my paper snips and I will fix that. I have a new pair of paper snips coming so that I can have one pair for cardstock and one pair for ribbon. Okay, perfect. Then I have this middle piece, which I'm going to put adhesive on the back of this. Hi, Marianne. I'm glad that you could join us. The first card I demonstrated was the easy one with the sky and the flowers at the bottom. This one's a little bit more difficult. Now, again, we're going to kind of line this up so that we have a border all around. And then we're going to get out our card base. And we're going to crease it. Now, the amazing thing is when you look at this, you think you're going to have to use so many pieces of the DSP, but you only use just the one piece and you cut it out with those stitched rectangles. So now we're going to put adhesive on the back of this frame. And like I said, I cut this to be the exact same size as the card base, so there's not going to be really, oh, maybe I did. I cut it just the exact length as the card base, so there's not going to be any border on the sides. But it still looks fine. And then the next piece I'm going to put in this one. We used to do this all the time with one piece of basic white paper and stamp and lay all the pieces together and stamp. Thanks, Marianne. I know. It's just by coincidence that I have the right color nails for this set. I can't do that all the time. I'd be going to the salon. Can't even get to the salon now, but all right. So there we go. And then just for a little height and stuff, I popped this middle one up with some dimensionals. I dropped one on the floor. I'm sure Herbie will get it later. And I'm just going to place this one right in the middle. Straight, if I can. in the middle. So, let me get a piece of Highland Heather because I didn't stick that in my basket. So here's some Highland Heather to make the tag, and I'm going to use my foam because the hydrangea set is a photopolymer set, so you need some extra cushion when you stamp, and I'm going to use just Memento Black because it's sitting here. And I'm going to stamp You Make Me Smile. Now, one great thing about stamping done punching is if you get your words crooked, you can fix that when you're getting ready to punch. Pretty amazing. I got that pretty straight, didn't I? I am not great at getting things straight. So now I'm going to come in with this punch, and I'm going to center it. And I'm going to also pop this up with a dimensional. I forgot I could use my pick a tool to pick the backs off. So much faster. And this will go. You know, you could put it anywhere. You could put it in the middle. I might put this one in the middle because I didn't on this one because of that pretty flower, but there's not really that big of a flower in the middle here. Well, it's going to pick right. So I think I'm just going to put, this time I'm going to put the You Make Me Smile right in the middle. And again, I had some, when I cut all these out, I had some left over, so I put it on the inside. Okay, what do I mean? Because photopolymer, Twyla's asking, what do I mean by I need? The photopolymer stamps don't have a cushion like rubber stamps do. So sometimes you don't get as clear of stamp when you stamp down. So what I did is I took 3 pieces of fun foam, self-adhesive fun foam, and I put them together and cut them the size of a card front. And this one I use all the time. Then that gives you just a little bit of cushion when you go to stamp and gives you a clearer image. I mess up many more times with a photopolymer when I don't have my cushion. And I made one up for everybody in my Tuesday class before. Okay, but that was a great question because I forget to mention that all the time. That's what this is. It looks kind of nasty, but that's just from stamping. Okay, so here are those 2 cards. A little different, but using the same technique. So now we're going to move on to card number 3, which has the most steps, but is beautiful. So this one, I wanted to use the stamp set, since the other 2 mostly highlighted the DSP. I wanted to highlight the stamp set. So here's what I did. I used my foam because it is a photopolymer, and I stamped the flower. I did this all ahead of time. So I stamped the flower with Memento. I left enough room on this half a sheet of basic white to get my frame, and I stamped the little For You, and I left enough room so I could cut the tag. Of course, we all know we have nails, tags, little things on the bottom of the basket are hard to get out. So then see, I can fit all 3, and I only have to run to the Big Shot, I'm sorry, not the Big Shot, the Cut and Boss machine 1 time. So see how I have it all laid out? And when I'm going to take it over, I'm not going to bring my Cut and Boss machine over to the table today because it just shakes everything and messes everything up. So I'm just going to run over in my room here. But when I get over there, I have Post-it notes so that I can hold that down so that it's right, and I can hold that down, and it doesn't matter that I got Gorgeous Grape here in the corners because it's not going to cut out. So let me run and cut this out. Okay, here we go. So now I have the flower, have the frame. This frame comes from the Ornate Layer die set. And I have my little tag. So what I do with this is because it has all these little things and they always don't all pop out at once. So I have the foam mat and the brush. Here we are again with our Ornate Layer frame cut with the cut emboss machine. And I'm going to use my brush to brush out the pieces. And if it doesn't work this time, we're just going to say, I don't know what's wrong. It worked perfectly fine last night. My brush is getting old too, so it's losing a lot of its bristles. So, there we go. Beautiful. I still have it. And see how it leaves them all there? If you shake that off the best that you can. And then you can kind of just gently go over it without the framelit on there and get out these remaining pieces. Some might be stubborn. And then that's when you get your pick a tool and you go ahead and poke them out. But for the most part, I'd say 95% of them will fall out when you get it cut right. So, this is going to be my frame. I'm not going to bother to go around and finish all these because it's kind of boring for you to watch. So, the next step, after I shake off this mat, is to get out my piece of DSP for the middle. And this is the other side of the triple time one that we just, the one with the blue sky. This is the opposite side of it. So, I had some of that left over, so I can just adhesive this right in the middle. And now I'm out of adhesive. It's just one of those days, isn't it? So I'm just going to switch to my Stampin' Seal Plus just for time's sake. I knew I was getting close to running out, but I didn't want to. And now I put the adhesive on the wrong side. So this one is going to have this flower background on it, which is okay. And then we're on to the coloring in the flower. So these are the colors I used. I used light and dark Highland Heather and light and dark Old Olive. So for the flowers, I took the light and I just used the small end of my blends and I colored in all the flowers. And now my dog has decided that it's time to go out and play because I took too long. So we'll just say, oh, got those colored in. And then I took the small end of my dark and I colored in the white in between them. Just because the white in between them is easier to see when they're all colored in. And when I was finished, it looked like this. And then I did the Old Olive light and dark on the leaves. So we just won't finish this because I'm sure you don't want to sit here all afternoon watching me color in. I see now, Marianne, that you were yelling wrong side, wrong side. But next time I'll try to look at my comments as I'm putting on the adhesive. That's one thing about not doing things in person. You guys can't tell me when I'm making a mistake and then I can switch what I'm doing. But we fixed it. I think it'll look just as pretty with those flowers. The thing is, I think it's going to look prettier going this way than this way. So we'll see. Let me get the stripes on here. This time I'm going to put the adhesive on the correct side. And of course, I did not hold my adhesive down correctly. Okay. Every day when I do these videos, something has to go wrong. I'm not sure exactly why. But don't worry, we can fix this too. Okay. So today it's the adhesive. The other day it was, I'd cut off the whole flap to a box. You just never know what you're going to see when you tune in. One day you might see a perfect video. Okay, so we're going to go this way with it this time. And we're going to see how we could fit this flower on. So see, the flower will still go. It will still fit. I was just afraid maybe the flower wouldn't fit if I turned it the other way. But you could turn it this way. And then you would just add a white string to your little tag and hang it. I put some adhesive behind my flower to hang the little tag. And this poor card, even with all of its mistakes and upside downs and sideways, turned out to look pretty cool if I had the flower colored in. I know you're wondering what happened to the tag. I have no idea. It was laying here and now it's gone. But you saw that I cut it out and you know that it was here and it would just hang down from the flower. Thank you all for joining me, and thank you, Marianne, for yelling about the wrong side even though I couldn't hear you. But you're right, Anna. I kind of like the flower side too. It kind of just pops back there. So these are just some ideas, and you all can play if you get this set. And I'll post the hostess code again for this month. And I'm still offering till the end of February a mystery box worth $50 of retired items if you use my hostess code. And you need to join me tomorrow, because tomorrow my weekly tip is going to be about this gilded leafing that we have. And if you think today was funny, wait till you see when I try to show you how to use this, because it has so much static electricity because it's so cold here that it just joins. I mean, it just flies around and it gets stuck in your hands. But the results are beautiful when you use it. So if you'd like to see how to use the gilded leafing, then join me tomorrow afternoon. I hope you all have a great day. Miss you. Bye.